Okay, welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a minute. I'm just going to let everybody know that the stream is getting ready to go on right now. What's going on, computer robots? What's going on, spiritual Loso? Steve Hall, I'm Mike. What's up? Kenneth L. What's up? I'm gonna let everybody else know that the stream is going on right now. Okay. Yeah, I heard about the mass shooting in Indiana at Deanwood, and I'm doing research on that report right now, and I hope to have a video up this weekend on the mass shooting in Indiana. And from everything I've been researching on, it's looking like another textbook beta male, like I talked about in the Man Crisis, and this guy fits the pattern and profile to the letter. So when I look at that whole incident that took place in Indiana at the FedEx facility, it's following all of the signs that I talked about. You have this beta male who came from a single mother household. He was a ticking time bomb. And you have him in a work facility filled with people of the Sikh faith. And it looks like this guy possibly had an issue with that. And he was also dealing with his single mother household. And because his mother was worried about him going out here and participating in this harm. And we've got also him out here talking about how he had a shotgun before that. Thank you, bye for I'm back. Yeah, I'm back on YouTube after the whole thing with the copyright issue as related to Camille Winbush. So I'm back here for the meantime. I'm hoping to do another Twitch show soon. So that's what I'm hoping to do in a couple of weeks. I'm hoping to get a Twitch show together and get my schedule together, because right now, Oricus Isis is a black woman, and that's on the cover of Isis Revenge of the Cyber Guys. You can easily see that she has black skin, so she's brown skinned, just a little bit on the lighter side of the spectrum. And Isis Revenge of the Cyber Goddess is coming out this week, so I'm asking everybody to please come out and pick up a copy. I want to get the sales up to the double-digit level that Eternal Night and John Haynes Taking Care of Business was, and I can't do that without your support. So I really want everybody to, again, come out and pick up paperback and digital copies of Isis Revenge of the Cyber Guys, because without your support, I can't get these books sales to double digits and take the SJS Direct imprint to the next level. So Isis is a black woman, and she comes from Nubia, and her golden skin is relevant of saying that she has gold skin like the Egyptian god. So that's part of this. This is the book that's coming out this April, and I really would, again, love it if you guys would pick up this book. But I'm going to get into tonight's topic. And tonight, Isis Revenge of the Cyber Goddess is it's $8.99. It's not that much money. Oricus, it's not that much money at all. It's $8.99 for the paperback, and it's $3.99 for the digital. So you can get it on Amazon right now, and you can pick that book up on Amazon. So I'm going to get into tonight's topic. I'm going to get into tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is one that I've been thinking about doing for a while. And this is a topic where I was thinking most women, they have not really had experience with a man. Now, a lot of women, they have boyfriends, they have, baby daddies, some even have husbands, but they have never, as I see it, really experienced a man. I mean, over the last 50 years, we've had a lot of women, as they were growing up as girls, they grew up either in single parent households, or they grew up in households where there were a lot of guys coming in and out, like your quote unquote uncles, your quote unquote boyfriends, your quote unquote baby daddies. They have never in their time really experienced what a man is, because they've never really had a father in the home. So many women out here, when they talk about what they're looking for in a man, usually they're not going based on the model of manhood that they saw in their homes. And in most cases, they're not really looking for a man like their fathers. Usually, they take their ideas of men from the social constructs that are created by Madison Avenue and Hollywood, and they take these social constructs of what they think a man is, and they create and build a world around that construct that Madison Avenue and Hollywood have created, that they think is what represents a man. So you have a lot of women out here, they're walking around with an idea in their heads of what they think a man is, but they really have not experienced a man as he truly is. Now, women who grew up in a household with a father and who are following a spiritual life, following the Most High Living God, they would understand what the role of a man is, and they would understand the role of a man in God's natural order. So when you have a woman who has a spiritual foundation and has a father in her life, she has the best understanding of the experiencing a man. But most other women out here, they have not really experienced a man, so they're out here trying to come up with their imagined ideas of what he's like. And that's one of the reasons why they struggle to have successful relationships, is because they have never really experienced what a man is. They have seen guys out here who primarily are males, but they have never really experienced a man. Now, a man under God's natural order, he understands his role as related to God's order, and he understands his place in God's order. Now, a man understands that in God's order, he is the third in line after God, the Most High, creator of the universe, Jesus, his son, who rules over the earth. And his place is to be God's steward over the earth. And his job is to be responsible for how things are running on the earth. And part of running the earth is, from the day-to-day operations, is being the head of household. Now, a man who understands his role as God's steward, understands as the head of household, his job is to make sure that his home is built and established, one, and make sure that everybody in that home is cared for and provided for. So when you have a man in charge, the first thing he understands is he is accountable and he is responsible for others. So he is accountable to the Most High God, and he is responsible for taking care of the woman in the house who is his helpmeet and support, and he is responsible for taking care of the children and providing them with protection, providing for their needs, and providing them with discipline and structure. So when you have a man in charge of the home, one of the things he does in the home, as after he builds and establishes his home, is he establishes rules and structure to his home. So when you have a man in charge of things, because he is accountable to the Most High and he is responsible for taking care of the family, he, as the leader, is going to establish rules for his home, and he's going to establish those rules so that everybody has an understanding of how things are supposed to run in the home. And when he establishes his rules, like God establishes his rules for the earth, it is done to provide everybody with an understanding of how things are supposed to be done in the home, structures for procedures, structures for policies, structures for how everybody is supposed to behave and conduct themselves. Those are things that the man establishes for his home. And when he does this out of love, because he knows that if he truly cares about his family and wants to be a responsible steward to the Most High, he wants to make sure that his family is cared for the same way Christ cared for the church. So he wants to make sure that his family is cared for, and that's why he establishes rule himself again as the head and establishes himself as the leader and make sure that everybody is within the rules that he establishes and make sure that order is maintained. What's going on, Joey Brooks? Glad to see you here. So when a man is in charge of things, people in the home, the wife, the children, they can be secure because they know that this is God's steward. And with him under God, they are going to be protected not only by the man, but by Jesus and the Most High God. And they also know that this man will provide for them because they have faith that God will provide through the steward and provide them with what they need. So you have a hierarchy and a structure when the man is in charge, but sadly, most women have never really experienced a man over the last 50 years in our society, especially in the Black community, as related to God's order. And the reason why most women have not experienced that kind of man is because your white supremacists and your feminists went out here and they tried to undermine the authority of not just that man, but the authority of God. So you had your feminists and your leftists coming out here, and they were telling the woman who was supposed to be the helpmeet and support to this man that she did not need this man. She was strong and independent. She could do things on her own. And because she was told these things and she was given your welfare state and given jobs by the leftists to be independent, she was taken away from the God standard as related to a man and given the state idea and construct of what a man is. So most of the women out here, they have never really experienced what a man is, what his role is, how he provides for the family, and how he is a steward for the family. They have not experienced what a man does in a home, and because they have not really experienced that man, they're going on ideas of what they think a man is. So they're out here thinking, oh, a man is this whole Madison Avenue construct that was created by Madison Avenue and Hollywood. They're thinking that a man is supposed to be this super educated, super rich guy who is supposed to give you everything that you want and agree with everything that you say. But that's not how a man works under God's natural order. No, a man is looking to be the leader, and he's looking to follow. Unfortunately, most of the women out here, because they have never experienced being part of a structure of a man in God's natural order, they're looking for this man to submit to them, give them everything that they want, and be somebody who will just sit there and do whatever they say. So they're looking for this man to be under them, and they're looking for this man to do as he's told by them. And she's not looking for the man to go out here and lead the home. She's looking for the man to follow her lead and allow her to do whatever she pleases. And that's not what any woman who's experienced a man under God's order is going to say. She's going to understand that, look, when you are in a home with a man, it's a completely different experience, because when you have a man in charge of his home and he's being a responsible steward under God's order, he's going to, again, lead and put God first. And he's going to, as putting God first, he's going to take care of the family's needs, trusting in the Most High. So when you have a man out here, again, it's a completely different experience. And a man is not going to be like what we're seeing out here in many of these communities, because a lot of women, they think that they have a man, but they don't really understand a man is not somebody who's going to sit there and be a boyfriend or sit there and be a guy on the side or have baby daddies in the house. No, he wants to have his authority because he wants to be able to fulfill his role that God gave him. He wants to be in charge of the home, and he wants to be in charge of the home so he can make sure that the family is under God and under God's authority. So when you have a man, again, that experience is different, because he's not going to let the family be away from God. He's going to have making sure that the woman is under God as well and teaching the values of the Most High to the children. So that's also part of his home. But most women today, they have never really experienced a man in their lives. They have experienced males. They have experienced people who are born males. They have never really had a relationship with a man. And they're thinking, oh, because this guy is born male, he's a man. But they are two completely different experiences. And you have to understand the difference between the two, because again, a man goes in understanding his, again, accountability to God, the Most High, and he also understands his responsibility to others. And that's something that many people take for granted when they're looking for a partner, because oftentimes your women out here, they're very emotional, and because they're emotional, they're looking at a guy based on his visual aesthetics, his look, his body and what he has on the external and how it stimulates their emotions, but he's not thinking about the internals as related to his values and his character. And they're not really looking for those values and those character, because when you grow up in environments like single mother households, what happens is you have women who are modeling a family unit that promotes dysfunction. So when you grow up in a single mother household, you're seeing two types of relationships. One type of relationship you're seeing in front of you is your mother interacting with these males, and these males are considered to be the baby daddy, the uncle, the boyfriend, and these are not men who are in leadership positions. No, these men are not in a leadership position. They are actually in a follower position. And because they are in a follower position, they are chasing the woman, looking to get her attention and approval. And because they're chasing the woman, looking for her attention and her approval, this model really shows that this woman is, again, not experiencing a man who is going to be a leader. No, he's out here submitting to the woman, deferring to the woman, and chasing behind the woman, not looking to establish any sort of boundaries, any sort of standards, or establishing any sort of order whatsoever. So instead of him coming out and establishing his rules, what happens is you have a male that is out here, and like your Pookies and your Ray Rays, they are not men because they are basically overgrown children. And these overgrown children, they are just out here chasing the woman and doing what she says. So she does not experience the man the way a man is supposed to be, because when the man gets involved with a woman and a woman was experienced a man, she's looking for that man to take a leadership role. She's looking for him to set a series of goals for the relationship. She's looking for him to go out here and have a series of goals of how he wants to build with this woman. And she's looking for him to set a direction for the relationship. That is what a woman who experiences a man wants from a man. She wants him to be the leader from minute one. She wants him to set a course for the relationship, and she wants to see how is this man going to build as related to what God wants him to do. And she wants to see how this man is going to go out here and set a course if they come together, and see how she can be a help to him. So when she goes out here looking for a partner, she's looking for somebody who she can be a wife to. And that's what she really wants to be, is a wife. She wants to be with a man. But what happens is you have a lot of women, because they grew up in feminism, they grew up in the welfare state, they grew up in single mother households. They don't really understand what this is. And they sit there and they say, I want a man, but they don't understand a man has defined roles as established by the Most High God. And in order to understand how to have a relationship with a man, you have to go to your Bible first. But your pastors, they don't preach those types of sermons to especially Black women and even women in white and non-Black communities, because they don't want the woman to submit, because as long as the woman controls the purse strings and controls the economy, what happens is the pastor can get a lot more revenue out of these women, because most women, they are emotional, and the churches are socially engineered to appeal to her emotions. So the pastor is a compromised individual, and I talk about this in my book. why 70% of Black women are single. And you can get that book in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. I go in depth on why this woman, Black woman, is taken advantage of by the pastor, because the pastor will not teach her about her role as a woman. And many of these women, again, they don't experience a man. They follow the lead of the pastor, who they believe is a steward of God, but he's really, in many cases, a wolf in sheep's clothing, because he will not teach the woman what she needs to know in order to follow the lead of the man. And that's all because he wants to continue receiving cash benefits from the women and the flock. So the women submit to the pastor and give him the money, but then they won't submit to the leadership of men. But a lot of the men don't know how to be men as related to God's order, because also the women, when the single mother households and even some of the two-parent households don't teach their sons about how important their role is, because a lot of people, again, have never experienced a man in their lives. Because a man, he wants to be a father, he wants to be a husband, and he values those roles because those roles are extremely important to the Most High God. And he understands that when he's on this earth, he is in service to the Most High God. So he is responsible for that family, and he wants to be a man who takes that responsibility very seriously. But when you have boys who get miseducated in single mother households, they really don't go out here and understand their role. So you have guys out here, they don't understand what they're doing, and that's because also they didn't experience a man in their lives, and they didn't experience all of the troubles that were going on. Yeah, I heard about, again, the shooting. I didn't hear about the Co-op City shooting Bronx Project, but I did hear about the one at the FedEx facility. But it's looking like, again, the beta males are going out here and they're on a rampage out here. And it's all part of another live stream I wanted to do, talking about how the man crisis is getting worse, because we're seeing an increase in frequency of these shootings. But this is what's happening because things are opening up. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a lot of people being isolated for long periods of time, and a lot of people, their mental health has deteriorated. Some of them, and others, they just have taken the opportunity because they're deeply frustrated. They're acting impulsive, and they're practically exploding in rage because they don't have a job, they don't have any money, and a lot of these people are struggling. So thank you, Kevin, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And a lot of these guys, they're really angry, and they're simmering and boiling. And again, I believe that the pandemic practically went out here and took the already long fuse of a lot of these beta males and practically shortened it, and did the equivalent of cutting the blue wire on a bomb. And that's what we're seeing a lot out here as related to a lot of these beta males. The man crisis has actually been exacerbated by these lockdowns. It's been exacerbated by long-term unemployment, and it's also been exacerbated because we don't really value manhood in our society. We don't value the importance of a man, and we don't really have men out here who are showing us a model of really true leadership. We have a lot of soft males trying to lead, but because they have a follower mindset. And again, I'm looking at things, and we're seeing what happens when people don't experience true to the game, God-centered men in their lives. And that's what a lot of women, again, have a big problem with. And that's why they can't have relationships, because they've never really had that experience with a man. The Catholic Priest Computer Robots Act, that's really something that messes things up because that priest is outside of God's order. And if you have independent women, what happens is you are not going to have somebody who's following God's order. So those Catholic priests are taking women out of God's order, and they're trying to compromise and appease to feminists. And this is something that happens all the time. And Dylan, yeah, it happens to women of other races as well. And again, when they don't experience a man, they don't know how to have a relationship with a man, and they don't understand what their role is in God's order as related to having a relationship with a man. So what's happening out here is you have a lot of women, they want to have a relationship with a man, but because they never saw their mother expressing love for their fathers, they never saw how their mothers were supposed to work with their fathers. They never saw the father expressing love towards them or leading them or setting a direction for them. What happens is many of the girls out here, they get a head filled with a lot of bad information from the two sources they get them from: the single mother who is out here with a lot of different guys, and they get a lot of misinformation from Madison Avenue and Hollywood. And because your girls get all of this misinformation from your single mother who is out here with Pookie, Skillet, Bam Bam, Rodney, and all these other guys, and they are uncles, boyfriends, husbands, quote unquote husbands, because it's not really a married husband. They're out here with all these different guys, and the girl is not getting any sort of model for how a girl is supposed to have a relationship with a man, and she's not getting any sort of leadership or instruction as related to how to go out here and socialize, because the father plays an important role in developing his daughter's values, and he plays an important role in who she gets involved with, because when a girl sees her father being a strong leader, it gives her an example of what to look for in a future husband, and it also gives her an example of character traits she should look for in a man when she's out here and she's thinking about pursuing relationships later in life. So when you have a girl and she is seeing a man because when out here and he's presenting values to her every day, this shows her what she needs to look for in a husband, because she's not going to go out here looking to have a quote unquote man like the single mother is looking for, because the single mother, when she has those boyfriends, those uncles, and those men, it tells the daughter, okay, this is what you need to look for when you want to have a relationship. But when you have a girl in a God-centered home with a father in the home, she understands that she is not to give up her body to just any guy. She wants to have a man who will value her and take her to be his only one. He wants a wife overall, and he wants to be with that woman, and he wants that woman to be his wife. So she's looking for a man who will value her to make her a wife. And that's what happens when you experience a man. One of the things that happens when you experience a man in the home is he provides a model for the daughters to look at and show how she is supposed to be treated. Thank you, Ronald, for the super chat. Yes, we do need fathers, and that absence of a father is why they pick up Pookie and Ray Ray, because there's no father in the home to show them who a man is and show them the experience of having a man in the home. Because the father's love towards his daughter, that is one of the things that helps develop a girl's confidence. That is one of the things that develops a girl's self-esteem. And it's one of the things that teaches a girl to love herself, because when she knows her father loves her, then she's not out here seeking validation and approval from other guys. So when a girl experiences a man in her life and he's showing her love, she's not out here thinking that she needs to have a boyfriend at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. She's thinking about how she wants to go out here and focus on goals in her life. She's not out here thinking, I need to have a boyfriend because I need to get attention from these boys. She understands that she has a man at home who loves her, respects her, and values her. And he also understands that she has the Most High God who loves her. So she has three men who love her: God, Jesus, and her Father. And because she has these men giving her support, then she doesn't have to go out here and look for love from Pookie, Ray Ray, Rodney, and Bobby. So she's got the love, and her emotional needs are sated. And that's one of the things girls experience when they have a true to the game, God-centered man in their life. So that when you have a man in your life, he is meeting your emotional needs. You may not like many of the things that he does, but he will meet your emotional needs at the core. So he will give you love above all else. And you'll also have that man also providing another thing to a young woman, and that is structure. Now, when you have a man in the home and a woman experiences a man in the home, she understands that she has to follow rules when she's with that man. So a man, a father who's in the home, he understands that his woman and his family are a reflection of him. So he's going to try to create and establish standards for his home. And so when you have a man and a girl experiences a man, she understands that the house has to be clean. She has to understand that she needs to take care of herself, because this not only reflects on her, it reflects on the family as well. And she's going to understand that these rules, they're not meant to be against her. They are meant to give her structure, and they are also meant to establish boundaries. So when you have a girl who has had a father in her life, she understands the concepts of rules, she understands the concepts of structure, and she understands that there are boundaries to the relationship. She understands that there is a line I do not cross, and there are lines that I don't cross because I do this out of love, because I want to respect my husband and my father, and I want to show these men respect because out of love. And that's what happens when you have a woman who has experienced a man. She understands that when she gets involved with a man, she's looking for this man to, 1, set rules, 2, set structure, 3, set order, because she wants to see this man being a leader. And a daughter, she needs a man to establish these things early on, because when he establishes these things early on, it shows the daughter that she's going to be loved, and it shows how much he cares about his daughter. And the same thing for the wife, when she sees the man setting boundaries, setting order, and setting structure, it shows her that this man is going to take care of her needs, and he's going to not only take care of her physical needs, he's going to take care of her emotional needs, because he is going to establish order and rules, and that's what a man does. So what's going on, Jibu2786? What's going on, Corey? So I'm talking about how most women out here have not experienced a man, and I'm going over the different aspects of what the role of a man is in a relationship to a mother and a daughter. A lot of women, they have not really experienced a man in their lives. They're looking for a man, but a lot of times they wind up stuck with a male, and they have never really experienced a man. So a lot of women are looking for a man, but they don't really understand what to look for, because they've never really been taught in the Bible about what a man's role is as related to being a steward under God's order. and being a head of household and setting order, setting structure, setting rules. They don't really understand these things. And a lot of people who grow up in single mother households, when they go out here and they get Pookies and Ray Rays, they think that's a man, but that's not a man at all. A man, when he goes out here, the first thing he wants to do is be the leader and be the authority. And he's looking for that woman who will be a helpmeet to him. And he's looking for a woman who will work with him and be a helper in helping him build something so that he can do God's work on earth. So he's looking for a woman to be out here and be able to work with him. But most women today, they don't know how to work with a man because they've never experienced a man. So what they're looking for is a guy who will follow their lead, submit to them, and defer to them, and give them the power that was given to them by the state. So they're looking for a guy who is not really going to put any sort of rules on them, put any sort of structure on them, establish any sort of standards on them. And they're looking for a man who's going to let them do whatever they please, because the state allows them to do whatever they please. And the reason why the state allows these women to do whatever they please is because they want consumers to go out here and buy their products, and they want these consumers to continue buying the products to continue to push their consumer-based economy. So they don't really want a man in charge of his home, because a man, when he sets his leadership in place as related to God's steward, and he sets order, one of the things he does is he sets routine. And routine is something, again, many of the women in fatherless homes, they are not really used to. They are not used to rules. They are not used to structure, and they cannot stand routine. And when you have a man in the home, you are going to get a routine. And routines are guys doing the same thing the same way all the time. And a lot of these females who grow up in female-headed households, and even some children, they chafe at the idea and the concept of routine. But men do things in routine because they want to keep things consistent. And the reason why they want to be able to keep things consistent is because they want to make sure that everybody's needs are getting met on a regular basis. Now, some people, they would say, oh, that guy is boring because he's doing things in a routine. But when you have that routine and that structure, it means that you're getting things taken care of. So when you have a man in charge, he is going to consistently make sure that the bills are paid. He's going to make sure that the food is in the house, and he's going to make sure that the house is maintained up to a standard. And he's going to do that because he wants to make sure everybody's needs are met in a consistent fashion. And many people, they're not really used to that, because they, again, when you grow up in a single mother household, or a household with a really dysfunctional beta male father, he's not going to pay the bills on time. He's not going to make sure that the refrigerator is filled with food. He's not going to take the kids out or make sure that, kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Their homework is done, things that you're at a certain place or at a certain time. And when he doesn't do that, you get kids who are, they don't have any structure, and you get a lot of chaos. So when you have a man and he's out here and he's doing the same thing all the time, that's not a negative, that's a positive. And it shows that this man is consistent, and it shows that this man is extremely responsible. Now, I get family members who get upset with me sometimes because I do the same thing all the time, but they don't understand the concept of routine, because, again, a responsible steward, they're going to want to be able to say, okay, I'm here at a certain place, at a certain hour, and we're going to be doing certain things at certain times. And you're doing that because you want to make sure that things are consistent. Sort of like, usually I try to make sure that my live streams on Friday are always around 10 p.m. or around 10 p.m. Well, this one was a little late because I was busy working on the Stop Simping in cyberspace book, and I'm trying to do a chapter a day again. But I always try to make sure that things are done at a certain time. And it may make people think, oh, they know all of what you're doing, but they don't understand why, you're doing it. You're doing things the same way because you want your children to have a model of consistency. You want your children to have a model of routine, and you want your kids to have a model for how you're supposed to structure their day. You're supposed to schedule different acts for different parts of the day so you can achieve and accomplish your goals throughout the day. So when you have a man and a boy and a girl experiences a man, she can understand that this man, yes, he's doing the same thing all the time in a consistent pattern, but that is to provide for her needs, not only economically, but also to provide her a sense of security. And this is something that is important to a woman, seeing a man being consistent, because that consistency is what allows her to feel emotionally secure. And this is something that makes her feel like, okay, this man is going to take care of everything for me. He's out here taking care of business, and I don't have to worry about anything, and I don't have to worry about where he is. But when you grow up in a single mother household or a toxic household with a group of different guys, what happens is you start not understanding the concept of routine and structure, and you are sitting there wondering where this guy is, what happened to him. I mean, your pookies will disappear for 2-3 weeks, and you're not sure of where this guy is. And what that does is it creates insecurity in a woman, and that insecurity is what leads to many women having problems with relationships because they just have never really understood the concept of routine and structure. And when they get routine and structure, these women chafe and bristle at it because they have seen this model for manhood from their absent fathers and these different types of guys. So that's what happens. And Lucy Delphine said, women with extreme daddy issues will never be successful with a man. And that's why the members of TLC had failed relationships with men. That's very true, because when you have those daddy issues, they lay the foundation for the model of relationship you're going to have. And these women will never be successful with a man because they have never seen or experienced a healthy relationship with a man. So when a woman experiences a healthy relationship with a man, she understands her role under God's order, because that role was not only taught to her by her mother, it was modeled by her mother and her father and how they treated each other. It was also modeled to her in the lessons that the father sat down and taught to her, because when a father is in the home, he's not only just sitting there teaching the boy discipline, he is also providing for the daughter by showing her an example of manhood, and he is also teaching her how she should be treated by men. So when you have a girl in a home with a healthy father, she understands that I need to be treated a certain way by a man because I'm seeing mom being treated a certain way, and I'm seeing myself being treated a certain way by that man. So she has an understanding of how a man is supposed to treat her, and she has an understanding of how she is supposed to have a relationship with a man, because she's seeing the father love her and she's seeing the father love her mother. But the girl who grows up inside of the single mother household, she grows up with a lot of anger. She grows up with a lot of frustration because she doesn't get her emotional needs met by her father. And she also doesn't get her emotional needs met by her mother, because in that household, because the father is not there to meet the wife's or the mother's emotional needs, she starts to see the daughter as competition for her and these other boyfriends and these other men. And because she starts to see the daughter as competition, then instead of her showing love to the daughter by giving her discipline structure, she starts to want to compete with the daughter, and then she wants to hurt the daughter and destroy the daughter, all because she wants to be still on top to compete for the attention of these other men. So she's not really in a place to nurture. Well, the father nurtures the daughter and the mother provides discipline, but she's not in a place to really give the daughter structure. And she can't really give the daughter structure because she has no husband to support her, because these men, they can't provide any support because they are not in a leadership position. They are in a follower position because he's not a husband, and he will never be able to assert authority because these are not his biological children. So a male, a Pookie, a Ray Ray, or one of these guys who comes in, stepdad, he can't come in and assert authority and be a head of household. He can't run the household the way a man does. And when a girl sees this and experiences this, she doesn't really see a man the way she's supposed to see him, being that leader, being that authority figure, and being someone she knows she can trust, because this man is not able to come in and build his own home. He's not able to establish his own structure. He's not able to establish a leadership role. And this girl, as she grows up, she becomes insecure because there was nobody there to meet her emotional needs at an early age. And because there was nobody there to meet her emotional needs at an early age, what happens is she takes her insecurities into adulthood, and those insecurities, as she takes them into adulthood, lead to her following what I call the paradigm of failure. And that paradigm of failure is something I talk about in why 70% of, and I talk about why 70% of Black women are single. So that's something I've talked about extensively in why 70% of Black women are single, because when you see your mother having failed relationships, there's no way that you can go out here and be ready for a relationship with a man because you never had a positive experience with a man. So you take all the negativity of childhood into your adolescence as you look for love from these males who never really understood what their role was as a man. And then those males, because they do not know how to be leaders, they wind up disappointing this woman, and she never really experiences what a man is. And because she does not experience what a man is, this is why she winds up spiritually unfulfilled and emotionally unfulfilled, because she has not really experienced the love of a man. And when you don't experience the love of a father who is under the authority of Jesus and the Most High God, it's a very sad thing, because this woman has never really felt or experienced love. So she cannot share love with a man. She can't really connect with a man. And she's been hurt by so many different guys. She doesn't know how to connect or bond with a man. So when a woman has never experienced a man, she doesn't know how to have a relationship with a man whenever she does meet one. And whenever she meets one, she gets emotionally turned off. This is why you'll have some of these females out here talking about, oh, that guy is boring. Oh, that guy isn't, he just turns me off, because she emotionally has never experienced a man. She doesn't understand what makes a man. She's never really been in a home with a father and structure and order. So whenever you see a woman talking like that, primarily she comes from a single mother household, and she comes from a home with a lot of dysfunction because women are looking for security. And part of looking for security is seeing a guy who is all about rules, all about structure, and all about routine. Because when you have a man who sets rules, sets order, and sets structure, and has routine, that woman knows she can be secure because she knows that her needs will be met, and she knows that she will not only be taken care of economically, but she will be fulfilled emotionally. And when you again have experienced a man, you can easily start to identify the difference between a male and a man. And that's why a father is so important in the home, because when you have a father in the home, he provides, again, that order and that structure. And when a girl sees these type of internal values and internal character traits, that's going to be attractive to her. And she understands that this man, who again is God's steward, is a high value man. She's going to look at that guy and see his value as a man, and she's going to look at these men and say, "That's a man I want to marry. That's a man I want for a husband, and that's a man I want to spend my life with." So when she looks at that guy, it's a completely different experience, and she looks at it because she understands what she's looking for in a partner. Now, Lucy Delphine comes up with a good point. Submissive, gullible, pushover fathers are unhealthy for daughters because she knew a black woman who had a father like that, and she thought every black man was like her father, and she got killed by her boyfriend. Yeah, that's true. Again, I see a lot of these beta male fathers, and yeah, they are extremely bad for their daughters because they go out here looking for this wimp guy. But a lot of these beta males, they are filled with a lot of anger. They're filled with a lot of rage. And most of all, a lot of beta males, they are extremely insecure. And when you have a beta male and he's out here, and the pushover father is her model, she's thinking that this guy will just be as soft as he is, not understanding this guy is very insecure. This guy is very filled with rage. I need to do a whole stream on the whole beta male as a boyfriend, because that's a really bad thing to get involved with, because a beta male boyfriend, what he does is his insecurities get the better of him, and he's very possessive, very jealous, and that makes him extremely dangerous. And yeah, he will either beat you up or kill you because he's scared of losing you, because he believes in the whole concept of what I heard Red Supreme say in one of his live streams, scarcity. And there is no scarcity. I mean, if you're secure, if she wants to leave, she can leave, because you know that it doesn't. If it wasn't meant to work out, it doesn't. That's not meant to work out. So you just go all your way and you let her go hers. So guys who are insecure, they will sit there and be like trying to possess the woman, being jealous of the woman, and it is something that when you get with these submissive fathers who are really weak, they model that for their daughters, and they're really out of control. So Lucy made a very great point there, and yeah, they look for that kind of guy because they're looking for guys to be like that. But a healthy father, he's again going to set order and set structure, and he's going to set that example because he wants his daughters to see what a man is supposed to be, so that when she goes out here, she knows what to look for in terms of values and character. And when you have a man there and woman experiences a man, is something that's, again, completely different. I mean, if you've talked to women who have experienced a man, they have a completely different aspect on relationships. They have a completely different view of relationships. It's not like these women you see on Oprah Winfrey or these Terry McMillan books talking about the no good black man, men are dogs. They sit there and they say, look, a man is a man, and you have to treat him a certain way, and you have to understand that, he is somebody you need to respect and regard. And if you don't respect this man, then maybe you shouldn't be involved with him, because That's one of the other traits when you have a woman who has experienced a man. She understands the concept of respect because respect is the ultimate expression of love for her. So when she's out here and she sees her mother showing respect to her father and the mother is showing respect to the man, that's something that she learns and is modeled for her. So she learns she has to treat other men with respect. So you have a lot of women out here, they don't really know how to respect a man, and they don't know how to respect a man because they don't see a man, especially a black man, as a leader. They don't see a black man as an authority figure. They don't see a black man as somebody who is allowed to set order. No, they see white men and the state as having that kind of power. And that's one of the big problems you have with a lot of women, because who have never experienced a man, because they have not seen that man as somebody who they respect, because they are taught and conditioned by your mainstream media. Oh, I don't need to respect a man. And when you've had this put into your head by a lot of misandrous media, like your Oprah Winfrey shows, your numerous sitcoms where we see men presented as less than, like your Ray Romanos, your Kevin James, King of Queens, your Daria, where they had Jake Morgendorffer, women dismissing the man's leadership, women dismissing the man's authority, women disrespecting the man. They think that, okay, disrespect is okay, but when you go out here and participate in disrespect, that really shows how little respect you have for the man. And when a woman disrespects a man, it's a sign that she does not love him, because a woman who truly loves a man, she's going to show him respect because she wants that respect back. And again, respect is the ultimate expression of love for a woman, because when a woman shows a man respect and respects him and his position, she's not only respecting the man, she's also respecting Jesus and the Most High God by honoring them, by obeying his commands and letting him be the leader and showing him the respect of his position as the steward and the head of the household. And this respect issue is a major one in Black households, and it's one that leads to a lot of relationships deteriorating, because most women, because they've never experienced a man, they have never experienced a man being respected, and because these women have never seen a man respected and shown his respect of his position as head of household, they usually do not know how to show another male respect, because again, she sees the male as secondary and not the leader. And because she sees the male as somebody less than her, she treats him with contempt instead of seeing him as somebody she needs to respect. Now, these women will like a guy, and like is a feeling, but respect is something that is a woman gives a man, because when she's in a home with a father, she had to give her father respect, because her mother taught her that when you have a man in the home, you need to show your father respect, and you need to show other male guests their respect. So when you have a woman who has never been taught to respect a man, and taught a lot of feminist culture that teaches her, oh, you're better than this man, you're smarter than this man is beneath you, you're practically going to wind up single for the rest of your life, because the foundation of a relationship is respect. And if you're never taught how to respect a man from day one, and you've never experienced women showing respect to men, and you watched a lot of this media where men are disrespected, then what's going to happen is you're going to learn that this is how you're supposed to treat a man, but that's not how you're supposed to treat a man at all. You have to follow the Bible, which says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's what a woman would want who has been raised by a father. If he's giving respect, she's going to give it back. And that's what you're going to do. Yeah, that's what happens, Lucy. Yeah, whenever they get married to an alpha male and they have kids with them, they just don't want to follow his lead because they just don't know how to submit. And that's another part of the not experiencing a man in your life is you don't understand that you have to trust the man to lead. And part of submission is it's something done out of love. They're thinking it's something that they're doing out of obligation, but it's done out of love because you love the man. And a lot of people, they feel out of touch with that because they don't trust the man to lead. And again, when you have women who come from homes with beta male fathers or single mothers, they're really insecure about letting that man lead. And they're really afraid to do that, and they're afraid to trust. So that you make a lot of good points, about, yeah, she had it all with that guy, but she just didn't trust him. And she went out here, divorced this alpha man who was leading. And as you said, he got the beta male, but the beta male, he was a convicted felon. He was insecure. He was just not fit for leadership. And that's what happens when you never experience leadership. You're not understanding how leadership works. You're not understanding how leadership is all about. And you're not having faith. And this is one of the things about being a part of God's order is understanding what faith is and trusting this man. But a lot of women don't trust the man, because they've learned this model of, I can't trust this guy. I really don't need to trust him. And what's happening is I need to find a way to do things for him or do things around him. And when you have women who try to do things for a man or around him without his authority, that undermines his leadership, and it undermines his ability to run the household. And it really it undermines his ability to take charge of the household. So a lot of women, they become insecure, and they because they come again from the single mother household where they're used to undermining men, second guessing men, questioning them. What happens is it prevents the family from working the way God wants it to work, and it prevents it from being able to function. So when you have a woman who never experienced a man, she's always afraid that, oh, something's going to go wrong. She's always doubting the guy, second guessing a guy, questioning a guy. And she does this because she fears that he won't be able to do things. And it's that lack of faith that winds up sabotaging everything. But when a woman experiences a man, she trusts that guy to come out here and do what he needs to do. She trusts him to establish order. She trusts him to establish structure. She trusts that he's going to maintain and build routines. And all of those things, again, help with her security and help her overall. Now, Bronx Project asks a question that's off the topic. I'm going to address that right now. He asks, but for your viewers to write and publish through SJS Direct, what would you recommend? Well, right now, I'm not ready to bring on other authors right now because I'm not ready for the rules as related to royalty structures and things like that. So I maybe a couple of years from now, if I can get things stable and a bit more profitable, I will bring on other authors. But right now, I'm just trying to sell the books that I have right now, like the upcoming Isis Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, which is available on Amazon right now, and books like John Haynes Taking Care of Business and Eternal Night. So that's what I'm doing right now on the SJS Direct imprint. I'm trying to get ready for this upcoming John Haynes at Death's Door comic. But I hope maybe one day in the future I'll be able to bring on another author or a couple of authors if I can afford to do that, because you have to pay advances and royalties. And again, with all this technology out here, everybody can be their own publisher and take all those rights for themselves. So it's an open market, and that's probably the best way to go, because you get all your rights, you make all your own money, and you can sell and distribute those rights as you please. Bright Lily brings up a good point. Some women are afraid of and fear men because they were abused by a male family member, and society teaches us to be on guard about men. Yes, that happens a lot, especially in single mother households, and even in two-parent households. You have a lot of girls who have been abused and molested, and they have not really experienced a good man. And because they don't experience a good man, they become extremely insecure, they become extremely traumatized, and they become defensive around men. So you'll have girls out here, again, they never experienced a man in a positive fashion. And I would say a guy who does that type of thing is another one of these males out here in a very sick and perverted male, one of these deviant males out here. That's not a man under God's stewardship, because a man under God's stewardship, he understands he is responsible to the Most High God, and he also understands that in that responsibility, he needs to show love to his daughters the same way he shows love for the church and shows love for God. He needs to show love to his daughters, and he needs to show love to his wife in the same way. But this man doesn't have any real love out here, because some of these guys, they're really sick and twisted. And that's what happens when you have a lot of, again, sick guys out here. But again, when you experience a man, it's again, completely different thing. And a lot of women, especially in the Black community, they have never, as I see it, really experienced a man, and they've never had that bond and connection with their fathers. And because they never had that bond and connection with their fathers, they can't bond with a husband, and they can't form a connection with a husband, because they have been taught a lot of bad ideas about men, one, and Madison and Avenue in Hollywood have taught them not to look to be a wife in a relationship. No, it teaches them being a wife is a bad thing, and it teaches them, oh, you need to have a boyfriend. And again, a long-term boyfriend is a sign of insecurity, because why would I want to just be a boyfriend to a woman for a long term? No, if I want a woman, I want a wife I can go out here and build with. And you want a wife you can form a family with. You want somebody who, when you build with them, you know, everything is long lasting. And you want to commit to somebody like that, because that's what, again, part of what a woman who has experienced a man is seeing, a man being secure with her and building something long lasting with her. So women want that consistency and that security when they experience a man, because they've seen that and experienced that security and that consistency under God's order. But to a lot of women, especially in the Black community, they have never experienced a man. They have experienced males because that's what they have seen growing up. And because they've grown up experiencing and seeing males, they never really saw what a man does. And they really don't understand how important a man is. And they don't understand how important a man is to their lives, because they never saw how important their fathers were to their lives. So because they never really saw or experienced a man, thank you for the Cash App, Shaquille. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to send to the Cash App, you can send to the Cash App as well. Each of those donations are usually used to pay for book covers or things like the upcoming John Haynes at Death's Door comic. And I thank you for your support. So when you, again, see these males out here, you're thinking that that's a man, but that's not a man. Again, a man is a completely different experience. I mean, when women experience a man, and they've had a man in their lives, it's something that they can never really forget, because it's just something that is completely different. And this is something, sadly, many women today have not been blessed to experience, because we have things like the mainstream media, the state, and many others. They don't want you to experience a man. They want you to experience males, but that keeps you in a codependent situation, because you have this power as related to the economy and jobs. But the whole thing is that power is something you don't want to give. Many women don't want to give up, because it makes them insecure about how they're going to get their needs met. And that's what keeps them codependent in a dysfunctional paradigm. And when you're out here and you're not trusting in God the way he wants you to, you don't wind up experiencing a man. You don't wind up experiencing God's natural order, and you really don't experience what blessings God has for you, because God has a lot for Black women and women overall, but you have to, again, submit to his leadership and his authority, and you have to have a understanding of your roles in God's order. It's like Moshe was saying, yeah, boyfriend and girlfriend aren't a biblical concept. That's a Western society mindset. And yeah, that's true. Boyfriend and girlfriend, that's not a role that God established. He made men and women to be husbands and wives, and he made men and women to be husbands and wives so that they could be under his authority. So he wants a man and a woman, when they court, to come together towards marriage. And we're not talking about marriage as related to the state. We're talking about a union under the Most High and under his standard. And that's what a marriage is. And that's not what we're seeing, because a lot of people, they're chasing this whole mainstream media idea of marriage with the big wedding and having the ceremony. But the ceremony is not something that is done externally. It's done spiritually. It is a commitment to each other. And again, that commitment is shown to you in the model that your mother and father show to you. Because when you see your mother and your father modeling a relationship for you, it gives you an example of what marriage is supposed to be. And it also shows you how you're supposed to see yourself when later on. So when you have a man out here, he's showing his daughter how she is supposed to relate to men, an example of what a man is, and shows her how she's supposed to be treated, because the way he treats her mother treats her, shows her how she is supposed to be treated. So when you have a man, again, completely different experience, completely different world. And most women, sadly, over the last 50 years, they have not really experienced a man, and they're out here looking for love, sadly, but they don't understand that if you've never experienced love in your early development, it's going to be hard to find it later on, because all of your emotional insecurities are going to prevent you from connecting with the men out here, bonding with a man, because you never bonded or connected with your father. And you're going to be looking for this man to be things he could never be, because this Madison Avenue Hollywood construct of a man is something most men could never be. I mean, these ideas that a lot of these mainstream media types have for a man, that women go out here and present, that he's supposed to be this rich guy with a six-pack and 6 feet tall and makes six figures. And that guy is only maybe about 1, maybe 2% of the population. And many of those guys, they don't really have a good spiritual foundation. And because they don't have a good, spiritual foundation, that 1 or 2% of guys, yes, they have these ideals that Madison Avenue and Hollywood want to promote about men, but that's not what a woman should be looking for in a man. No, what she needs to look for, like I put in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, are values and character. And it's the spiritual values and the spiritual character a man has that have the highest value. Your guy with 6 figures and 6 feet tall and a 6-inch private part, that's not what a woman who has experienced a man is looking for. No, she's looking for values. She's looking for character. She's looking for a man who has who's going to present an example of manhood, and she wants to see a man with values and character, so that she can find someone who has something in common with her, so that she can build a family where they can teach these values as related to the Most High God to their children so that their children will wind up learning these values and be protected by the Most High, and their souls will be saved by the Most High. So that's what most women who experience a man are looking for. They're looking for values. They're looking for character. And these are things that a man shows in his actions and shows in the way he carries and conducts himself. These are things that when a man is out here, when you, again, experience these things, it's again, completely different. It's not just this, he has a bunch of money and good looks. It's he has good values and good character. And I know that I can trust this man. I can have faith in him the same way I have faith in God. And I can have faith in insurance that this man will do right by me, because he's going to do right by me because, one, he loves me, and two, he loves God. And because he loves God and he loves me, he's going to do right by me because he sees me like he sees himself, and he sees me like he sees God. So he loves me the same way he loves God. So that man is going to do right. So that's what happens when you experience a man. But most women, again, have not really experienced a man, because we have created a society of males, and because we have created a society of males, most women have never experienced that man who would give them love, that man who would give them care, and have never experienced a father who would love them the way Jesus loved us, and he sacrificed himself on the cross, and love us like our Father in heaven loves us. So they've never really experienced this. They get caught up in these constructs of this, again, these actors who they dress up, and these guys who they dress up in expensive suits. They think that's a man. No, that's an ideal that was created to make you chase after a fantasy, but that fantasy is not what a man really is. And that fantasy is, when you chase it, you wind up missing out on a man, and you wind up missing out on men who would be great husbands to you. So a lot of women, they go out here, they're looking for this fantasy that they see in soap operas, in romance novels, in movies. They're looking for this rich, handsome guy with all of this money, or this high value man with all of this money. And they're not looking for a man of character and values. And the first thing you really want to look for, again, when you've had that father in your life, and you have that father who has that connection to the Most High, he's going to show you what a man is. And when you experience that, it's going to give you an example of what to look for in a husband, because you're not looking for no boyfriend. I mean, yes, there's courting and stuff like that, but you're looking for to court that man towards marriage. You're not looking for some boyfriend, because a boyfriend, again, is a social construct created by your Madison Avenue in Hollywood. He's not a guy who's committed to anything. He's just here basically to get laid and have a woman just be there for sexual access, but he's not there to commit to anything or build anything, hence the term boyfriend. He is a boy. He is not a husband. A husband has a defined role by the Most High God. A husband has a set of rules he needs to follow. A husband is accountable to the Most High God and Jesus. The husband is a steward who has to take account for his actions on earth. A husband is a leader and is given responsibility, but most women and most men don't want that whole husband, because that husband means accountability. That husband means responsibility. And when you've never experienced a man, you don't really, a lot of women don't like the whole idea of that man being the head of the household, because it means that there's finally somebody there who will make them submit to leadership, somebody be there to submit to authority. and someone who will be there to make them accountable for their actions, and somebody who will make them take responsibility for their role as helpmeet and support. So you'll have the woman, she does not want these things because feminism, the state, they allow her to not take on that accountability and responsibility. And that allows her to get a pass to do whatever she pleases because, again, under the Most High, there is an order, there are rules, and a lot of these women don't want to be under any man's rules, and they don't want to be under the Most High's rules. They would rather be under the state because the state gives them these freedoms and the state doesn't give them any responsibility as long as they are out here controlling the purse strings and spending the money. They can get more money out of the woman who has never experienced a man, because again, when you have a man in charge, he is, again, as part of his rules and his structure, he's going to put the woman's money under a budget, and that budget means that the money will be spent in a routine fashion. And your corporations don't like women spending in a routine fashion. They don't like people buying things in a consistent fashion the way a man does when he establishes his order. They like the woman going out here spending impulsively, and they like the woman spending in an impulsive fashion because they profit at her expense. So when you have a man in charge, again, as part of his routine, he creates a budget for the home, and he creates that budget in order to make sure that the bills are paid in a consistent fashion, that there's food in the refrigerator, there's clothes on everybody's back, the vehicles are maintained, and the money is spent in a routine fashion. And that's something most corporate businesses don't like because men tend to buy the same things all the time, and you can't sell the same. Can't really make money when you sell the same things all the time. You usually make your money when you can get people to buy on an impulsive fashion, and they love it when women go out here and spend money because women will spend money in a very impulsive fashion, and they'll spend it regularly in an impulsive fashion. And that's what they love seeing because that means they are guaranteed to make money on that woman. And that's why they like having her as a leader. And that's why they don't want her to experience a man. Because when a man is out here, you know he's going to buy that Chevrolet Impala or that Honda Accord every 3 to 5 years. You know he's going to buy the same shirts all the time. You know he's going to buy the same brand of underwear all the time. You know that man is going to go out here and he's going to go out here and buy things on a regular basis. He'll stick to similar brands over the course of his life. But a woman, when she's in charge, she buys impulsively and she'll buy anything and she won't really think about what she's buying. But that's why they don't want the man to control the wallet and the dollars in the home. And women who have never experienced a man, they can't stand a man controlling the finances, and they can't stand a man controlling the dollars in the home. And because they can't stand that, they chafe at the whole idea of structure, of order, of authority. They chafe at these things, and that's why whenever you hear women saying, "Oh, I can't find a man," no, you can't find a man because you've never experienced a man. You have experienced males, and you want to continue getting away with the things you got away with these males, with a man, but you can't get away with those things with a man because a man is not going to allow you to run amok in his home. No, he's not going to allow you to run wild the way the state does. He's not going to let you be able to just run wild out here and do as you please. No, he's going to set some structure and some order. And a lot of women who, again, grew up with a father in their life and grew up with a man in their life, they love it when a man takes charge like that, takes the lead. They love it when a man is in control because that means they are secure and they are going to be taken care of. So when they see a guy, when they've experienced a man who took care of their mother and took care of them, and they see a guy who is like that, they immediately become attracted to that kind of guy because they know that they're going to be taken care of in a consistent fashion. So this is something that a lot of women, they have a problem not understanding. They're sitting there going, oh, I'm looking for a man, but you've never experienced a man. You've never experienced being a steward. You never experienced these type of things. And it's something that if you don't know what it is, you will be out here looking for love with males, but you will never really understand what a man is, and you'll never understand how to relate to him like a husband. So I'm going to ask everybody to pick up my new book, Isis Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, on Amazon.com. I really want to get the sales up to double digits on this book, the way you guys did for John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. And this is the third part of the Cyber Goddess saga. And this is one of the best Isis series storylines. A lot of people love this storyline. And I want you guys to experience this story because it's a fun story. So this is the third book in the series, and it comes after Wrath of the Cyber Goddess and the Beauty Myth. And it's available right now on Amazon in paperback right now, and you can pre-order the Kindle format. So I really would love it if you guys would go out and pick this book up. The Isis series, definitely, I want to get more readers on this series. It's a great series for tweens and teens. So if you have family members, this is a great series to get your kids into. I mean, the books are under $10, so this is one that you can definitely afford. So I really wish you guys would head over to Amazon and pick this book up. I also have so this book features a strong heroine, and I also have the new book, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. And I want to thank everybody for helping get the sales up on this book. And I really want to continue getting the sales on this book, continue building the momentum. John Haynes, Taking Care of Business, has gotten five-star reviews. So definitely one of the 47 people in the chat. We can get this book up even further as related to sales. And people seem to love this book. Again, I'm getting some good positive feedback on it. So I really would love it if you guys would head over and pick up John Haynes, Taking Care of Business, which is the second book in the 2021 SJS Direct catalog. So I'm going to put the link up for that book. Thank you, Shaq. If you buy it tomorrow, I really appreciate you supporting my work. So that book is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle as well. I also have a lot of other great positive books on there, like Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and which is designed to try to help Black women, work out of this paradigm of failure. I know a lot of women have not really experienced a man. They have not really had somebody there to really teach them about, manhood and how the man is important in the relationship. They're looking for this Madison Avenue construct, this good man, but this good man is a social construct. In order to really understand manhood, you have to go to the Bible, because God created man, and he created man and woman to work together. And he doesn't really want to see us, fighting each other. But you have to experience a man and understand what he needs in a relationship. And you have to understand that as his subordinate, you're supposed to try to work with him and work with him towards the goals in doing God's work. So you really want to understand, again, a man. And a lot of people have never experienced a man. They have experienced males. They have experienced boyfriends. But a relationship between a husband and a wife is a completely different thing. And a father is a completely different relationship. And sadly, because many girls don't get that foundation in having that father to be there for them, they don't understand how to have relationships with men, how to communicate with men, how to get close to men, how to bond with men. And you have to see these things early on, or it can really mess up your development. Now, if you get with the Most High, He will help you if you're having problems and you never really experienced a man. But the whole thing is when you experience a man, again, completely different relationship, completely different experience. And sadly, many American women and Western women, because of feminism, they have never had that experience of a man. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream. I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream. I really enjoyed sharing this topic with you. And I hope you'll be there for next week's stream, because I'll probably have another topic. And like Computer Robots has proposed, maybe I need to do a topic like, is the man crisis getting worse? Because we're seeing a lot of these beta males out here. And things, like I said in my previous video, when I told y'all, everybody, to keep your head on a swivel, because these beta males are going to be on a rampage. I really want to see more people, stay safe. And I may do another live stream where I'm talking about, is this man crisis getting worse? That might be next week's live stream, or it might be a live stream I do sooner rather than later. So I want to thank everybody for coming to the stream, and I hope everybody has a good night.